I want to take you guys back to a simpler time. A time where Drake was ghostwriting for Kanye West, Travis Scott had just given us his magnum opus Rodeo, Fetty Wap was giving us hit after hit, and Playboi Carti was still Cash Carti. 2016, it might feel like a lifetime ago, and that's because it was. If you were around back then you probably feel kind of old right now. You got gray in your beard, wrinkles on your face, you're walking around with a cane, your memory's not what it used to be, but try to reminisce with me here. I want you to remember the day that you first heard that 2016 XXL freshman class freestyle and what stood out to you about it, because that freshman class marked a cultural reset in hip-hop. It introduced a lineup of rappers who were as eccentric as they were influential. Names like Lil Uzi, Lil Yachty, 21 Savage, and Kodak Black redefined the genre with their unique styles, unconventional personas, colorful hairstyles, and offbeat charisma. This group wasn't just a collection of rising stars. They were a statement. Lil Uzi Vert brought a rockstar energy with his melodic, otherworldly flows and flashy personality. Lil Yachty leaned into a carefree, bubblegum aesthetic, sporting bright red braids and an unorthodox style that broke hip-hop conventions. 21 Savage stood out with his dark, menacing delivery, offering tales of street survival with a deadpan intensity that became his signature. And amidst this eclectic mix stood a young rapper with, in my opinion, the most promise. Kodak Black felt like the wild card. His unapologetically raw approach and almost comedic delivery made him a standout. I mean, you could go watch that freestyle on YouTube and see that the most replayed part was right when Kodak starts his verse.
Who the fuck picked this little sorry ass beat? I'm from the ugly corner, man, them little sour ass streets.
That alone should emphasize that the vast majority of the new generation was gravitating towards Kodak's carefree, unpredictable, almost goofy approach to hip-hop. And then when you turned off the freestyle and dove into each of these artists' catalogs, you find that Kodak sported a catalog of effortless hit after hit that captured the gritty soul of Florida streets in a way that was both heartfelt and electric. Songs like No Flockin' exemplified Kodak's unfiltered lyricism with his iconic offbeat flow, drawing listeners into his world of survival and ambition. The freestyle feel of the song showcased his ability to make the chaotic sound profound. Tracks like Skrilla radiated infectious energy, with Kodak's signature slurry delivery turning street hustle narratives into anthems. Then songs like Skirt pushed his unique cadence to the forefront, blending humor with swagger, making it both catchy and authentic. And his deeper mixtape cuts further demonstrated his storytelling ability, capturing his struggles and defiance in a way that felt both deeply personal, yet simultaneously feeling universally relatable. His blend of humor, pain, and resilience gave his street anthems a distinct edge against 21 Savage's earlier, more monotonous records, and the storytelling and collection of new flows that he brought through much of his earlier work set him apart as being much more of a charismatic lyricist than his peers like Lil Yachty or Lil Uzi. And Kodak would continue the next few years, giving us multiple hit after hit. However, the quantity of timeless anthems that we got from Kodak lingered far behind that of his peer 21 Savage, and his global popularity seemed to trail behind Lil Uzi Vert's as the years progressed. But the greatest difference between Kodak Black and his 2016 freshman class peers is the unfortunate fact that even by 2024, 10 years after he dropped his first mixtape, Kodak Black has seemed to have faced the most adversity out of his entire generation. Unlike Uzi, Yachty, or 21 Savage, the odds have always been seen to be stacked against Kodak Black. Since that XXL freshman freestyle back in 2016, Kodak Black has been arrested over 10 different times. Possession of marijuana, possession of paraphernalia, possession of firearms, robbery, misconduct, violating his house arrest terms after attending a strip club without prior approval, probation violation after an IG live video depicted firearms and illegal substances within his vicinity. He's been arrested at the Canadian-US border. He's been arrested after performing at a music festival in Miami. In July of 2022, he was arrested for trafficking oxycodone and possession of a controlled substance after being found with 31 oxycodone pills during a traffic stop. By February 2023, he was ordered into rehab for 30 days after failing a court-ordered drug test, and by December 2023, he was arrested again in Florida for white powder possession and tampering with physical evidence. However, the charges were dismissed after he proved that he had a prescription, He's been pardoned by the former president Donald Trump. And I bring all this up for many different, very important reasons. Firstly, as a side note, but probably the most important element of this entire thing is that obviously due to his incredible talent, Kodak Black has been able to amass a great amount of wealth and influence within pop culture, which has granted him the fortunate ability to be able to afford some of the top lawyers in America, which have been fighting tirelessly for the last 10 years to constantly get Kodak Black released from prison. His influence and charitable contributions even stretched far enough to make it to the White House, where the former president was able to get all of Kodak Black's charges dropped. Many charges that stem from probation violations and house arrest violations. And my point is that the prison system is obviously a very vicious domino effect that makes it very difficult for prior convicts to avoid future incarcerations and gain total freedom. It's set up for you to fail. Young Thug is a prime example of this. He just got released off RICO charges after taking a plea deal that granted him 15 years of probation. And while that might seem great, while he's still able to be in the free world, if he makes one small slip up, something as small as just going back to his hometown of Atlanta and visiting family members, he will go back to prison and could face up to 25 years. Kodak Black's in a similar situation where once you're a convicted felon, once you make one mistake, you essentially got to walk on eggshells. And even if you're rehabilitated, even if you've grown from your mistakes, the system is unforgiving, and one small slip up that violates your probation will send you back to prison and you'll be treated like a criminal once again. Now, I'm no lawyer. I'm not here to argue the morality of the justice system, but sad part of this is that millions of people are in very similar predicaments to Kodak Black. However, they don't have the resources, the access to capital, or the influence to get pardons from the president or have expensive lawyers that could fight through every legal loophole. And for that reason, they may have been rehabilitated, they may have learned from their mistakes, they might be ready to re-enter society and thrive. However, they lack the privilege of millions in the bank or significant cultural influence to leverage legal power in defending their innocence and securing their freedom. So kind of a long side note, but while Kodak Black has gone through tons of his fair share of hardship, his star power and access to capital has granted him the luxury of being a free man today. Meanwhile, millions of individuals with far fewer privileges than Kodak Black become trapped in a relentless cycle within the prison system designed to keep them from achieving the same freedom that Kodak is now fortunate enough to experience. A prime example of this is Kodak Black's arrest in December 2023 when he was facing charges of Coca-Cola possession. The charges were quickly dropped, and to quote Kodak Black's attorney, Bradford Cohen, he stated that count 2 is now dismissed of Kodak Black's possession of Coca-Cola that wasn't Coca-Cola, that should have never been filed or brought by the Broward State Attorney Office. We showed them his prescription prior to filing, and they decided to file anyways, even knowing that the officer was wrong about the substance and his story changing and making no sense. That case is now completely dismissed. And if this could happen to Kodak, where he's arrested for possessing a substance that he has a prescription for, and they mislabel it as a completely different substance, think how many countless other people have possibly fell victim to a similar situation, but could not afford the same lawyers that Kodak did to relentlessly fight for their freedoms. But anyways, as severe of an issue as that is, that's a topic for another video. I also bring this up in relation to Kodak Black because it's important to note that he does have a prescription to oxycodone, which will have significance in this video very shortly. And really, the most amazing thing out of this entire negative situation is the fact that between Kodak's 10+ arrests from 2016 to 2024, simultaneously, he has also managed to give us 7 studio albums, 8 mixtapes, 2 EPs, and 36 different hits on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. A body of work so vast and a list of accomplishments so long that you'd think that Kodak Black spends every waking hour within the confines of a studio. Yet, the stark reality since 2016 is that he has likely spent as much time locked up behind bars as he has behind a microphone. This duality speaks volumes to his relentless work ethic, the weight of his trials, and the unyielding spirit that drives him to persevere despite the odds that are stacked against him. His musical output has never slowed down. You've very rarely ever seen Kodak Black out in public without a smile on his face, grinning behind his gold grills doing his glee pose. But unfortunately, much like the golden grin Kodak Black wears as he navigates the storm of legal battles in his personal life, his vast musical catalog has become a reflection of resilience tainted by distraction. The once raw brilliance of his earlier work now often feels diluted, a collection sprawling with fillers, hiding flashes of his undeniable talent. His latest album, Diusion Octave, mirrors this duality, scattered gems buried beneath layers of excess, much like the man himself. burdened by chaos, yet striving for clarity. Kodak's music and life share the same essence, a tapestry of triumphs and tribulations, each thread woven with both struggle and hope. The music no longer always strikes with the same precision, but it carries the weight of a man fighting to hold on to his essence while demons pull at his core. At its heart is a story of a flawed individual searching for redemption, of someone whose art reflects the fragmented, beautiful, and turbulent journey of self-discovery. The album title of his 2018 project, Dying to Live, encapsulates Kodak's journey with haunting precision, a soul ensnared by demons and hardships, yet fiercely striving to savor the rewards of his perseverance. It speaks to a life spent wrestling with shadows, trauma, and legal battles, where every triumph feels hard-won and every moment of joy carries the weight of struggle. And unfortunately, in 2024, even with all his legal cases dropped, we still watch Kodak Black Dying to Live. I had initially planned to make this video after the world watched him on Kai Cenat's stream the other night, because as someone who spent the early years of my adult life listening to Kodak's music religiously, watching his career evolve, watching the hardships he's had to endure, and seeing him finally become a free man, seemingly fighting off every single last one of his legal issues and being granted the opportunity of being a free man and being able to solely focus on advancing his music career, it was incredibly tough watching Kodak Black on that stream. He was rambling incoherently.
Don't suck for me. I said, no, I don't want it. I don't want sex. I don't want sex.
His words tumbling out in fits, disconnected and erratic. His time with Kai Cenat spent mixing half-formed thoughts with nonsensical phrases. His gestures were exaggerated. His movements were restless. His gaze would shift unpredictably, reflecting either confusion or overexcitement. It was a manic energy that surrounded him, marked by chaotic speech and disoriented behavior. And the first thought that came into my head was, why would anyone on Kodak Black's team allow him to get in front of a camera when he was in this mental state? And why would anyone from his team allow him to get into this state to begin with? But if you've been following Kodak Black for a while, then you know that this behavior wasn't necessarily out of the ordinary for Kodak Black. And in bad taste, people were making memes about this. People were laughing about his different outlandish freestyles or his sporadic, nonsensical outbursts that he was having on stream.
Black's point of view on Kai Cenat's stream.
But I think if you care about Kodak, there's a much more important question you gotta be asking. Kodak emerged as this high-energy, cartoony, goofy, charismatic individual from the beginning. Is this behavior just a byproduct of who Kodak Black truly is? Or is this erratic, incoherent, outlandish act a result of a concerning habit of substance abuse? We know that Kodak Black has been arrested on several substance charges. We know, again, that he has a prescription for oxycodone. And if you've been keeping up with his interviews and streaming appearances over the years, then you have probably seen the concerning rise of this outlandish behavior and the incoherent, slurred speech that was presented to the largest audience to date on Kai Cenat's stream recently. But before Kai Cenat's stream, we saw Kodak Black on Zia's and Bilu's stream premiering the music video to his Super Gremlin music video. And that to me was the first sign of concerning behavior from Kodak, where he was falling asleep on stream, spewing absolute gibberish, mumbling and slurring his words, and just acting erratically.
You got my boy Yak in the building, man.
Tired.
That nigga tired as fuck.
Nah, tired. That's what I see.
Okay.
Like tired, like they dead. And they dead like flies. Like flies everywhere. They dead. Like some kind of shit. Whatever that shit. I don't know, cause I don't smoke crazy shit, but they got some shit on it.
Yeah.
I'm better than all these niggas mostly.
Then he appeared on Drink Champs, where he also seemed to be struggling to form coherent sentences throughout many moments of the interview.
Let me see this and try to see like if they could like little boy try to like run it on me or some shit like that. And like you lost it. Yes. I'm saying for real.
And again, it begs several questions. A, why is Kodak Black's team letting him go to interviews in this state? B, why are the people around him letting him get in this state to begin with? And C, is this substance-related behavior, or is this who Kodak Black really is? I mean, people do forget that Kodak Black has always been a little bit unhinged, very goofy and outspoken and unique to say the least. And it's made him this hilariously lovable figure. Beyond just his amazing talent within music, it's really his character that draws you into his world. I mean, again, amidst all the legal trouble, amidst all the times that Kodak Black was in and out of jail, he gave us constant memes, whether it was doing something as simple as just eating mac and cheese and calling it yak and cheese.
How you feel about it? How you feel about it? That good. No. My boy got the macaroni with that yak and cheese. Come on, man. You hear me? The macaroni with that yak and cheese. Fuck that stuff out. Macaroni.
Or when he was messing with the white neighbors in his rich neighborhood.
Look at that goddamn hair. What did you do to that? It looks like a damn wig.
You heard me?
You can't do that shit. Look at mine. You want mine?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Show yours.
There it is.
This is Wall Street. This is my hair. I can comb this hair. I can brush this hair.
Or even as recently as on the Gillie and Wallo show, which we're going to talk about very shortly, when he presented his Cybertruck that has a toilet in it.
Look at that. I want to feel like a dick ride. Look at that. Look at that, man. This was to point out my cake if I can't eat it. Huh? If I can't eat it too, you don't want ice cream. Do it flush. What's the point of having them? What's the point of having them up? Don't flush.
I mean, I don't even know how you could use that toilet when there's no roof on the truck. Everyone could just see you doing your business. But amidst all the jokes and humor that comes with Kodak's persona, we also get these concerning interviews and streams that again display the negative side of his erratic behavior. We've also seen that take a turn for the worse when he beefs with rappers like Lil Wayne.
Tell Lil Wayne fight me in the rain, and I'm gonna beat his stupid ass. And I bet everything on it. Since Soulja Boy and Chris Brown doing it, I don't even need no trainer. I don't need Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner. I'm finna beat Lil Wayne's stupid ass. Watch. And whoever wins, they the best rapper out. You heard? Tell Lil Wayne, if he ain't scared of me, he gonna fight me.
Or 21 Savage. And again, I think it's a really important question to ask yourself. Is this just part of Kodak's personality? Or has his mental health taken a toll on him? And has his substance abuse caused him to enter this scary negative downward spiral? Just last year, we saw him almost in tears on an Instagram live when someone told him that he needs to go back to jail so he could sober up.
Damn, what kind of person are you? This one, you need to go back to jail and sober up, yak, for real, man. How and why would you, and why do you feel like that's the answer to my, or whatever you feel like? Why do you feel like that's the answer to my what you call?
And it was powerful as someone who spent so many years in and out of the prison system and has finally regained his freedom to hear his fans tell him he deserves to be back in jail because of his erratic behavior and the overindulgence in these negative substances that he's likely using as a coping mechanism to deal with the trauma that he's endured. However, by that same token, while last year he was almost in tears about his fans saying that he should go back to jail and sober up, this year, just the other day, he was on Instagram Live and a fan commented saying that they're happy to see him sober, and he laughed at it saying that he's not sober.
Say I love when Kodak sober. Trying sober. I look sober. I know it's sober. For what? For what? Look at all this money. Look at all this cash. Sober for what?
And questioned why his fans would think he's sober, stating that he's too young to die sober.
We young to die sober. Young to die sober. Oh, follow it. Yeah, what's what, man?
And again, if there's people around him who genuinely care about him, who are next to him while he's saying these things on Instagram Live, you got to wonder what they're doing in their power, because obviously it's up to the actual person to make the change, not them. But again, you got to wonder what they're doing to try to help him make that positive change. You got to wonder when he's in these states, how many people are possibly trying to stop him from going and making public appearances on Kai Cenat's stream, on Drink Champs, on Zia's and Bilu's stream to display this behavior when he's potentially not in the best state. You'd think there'd be people around him to slow him down or tell him to stop doing these interviews and instead focus on sobering up and getting back to the music. Something that has, again, taken a bit of a backseat to the antics, taking a little bit of a decline in quality compared to his earlier work, and just doesn't seem as poignant or inspired or as innovative as it once did. Case in point, his last hit was already several years ago with the song Super Gremlin, which was a great record, but by the same token, he's rapping about taking a fake perk, taking it knowing that it was fake, but not caring. And with the subject matter in the music, with the album titles like Dying to Live, you gotta ask yourself, what can a man who's endured so much trauma, trials, and tribulations do to get on a better path in life? He spoke on that Super Gremlin record, stating that he actually didn't want to release it, knowing that it contained the lyrics saying that he knew the perk was fake, but he still took it. He didn't want to send that negative message of substance abuse to the youth.
The first bar that came to my mind, I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I'm gremlin. I really ain't want to say that shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, that was the first thing that came to mind. I ain't want to say I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I'm a gremlin. But that shit was just hard as shit though. I just knew that bitch was going to do it. I ain't want to say that shit though. My dog Sosa and shit, he be telling me like, fam, like, motherfucker look up to you, like, nothing, like, you up around, what you call it, and that motherfucker gonna
do that.
Don't, please don't take that, yeah.
But he's also gone on interviews saying that he takes 100 perks a day.
You recently went viral because you was on stage and you said that you regret saying the perky line.
Yeah, and Super Gremlin.
The Super Gremlin, yeah.
I hear that shit. I said that, bro.
100 perks a day sounds like a lot.
You was exaggerating when you said 100 perks, or you for real, like, on 100 perks a day? How you weave off of it? Like, how you
Tell you, man.
And you know what's so crazy? We all battle addiction, right?
It's concerning when we've seen hip-hop icons as recently as this year, like Rich Homie Quan, pass away due to consuming what people thought was a fake perk. And before his passing, he was very public about his own struggles with substance abuse. And another icon like Juice WRLD in 2019 also passing away by swallowing a bunch of pills when cops did a raid on his private jet. You would hope that after seeing that, Kodak Black wouldn't have the mentality of getting on Instagram Live and saying that he's too young to pass away sober. And one of the more recent interviews that Kodak did that was definitely on a more positive note was one with Gillie and Wallo of the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. Gillie the Kid being a former rapper and his cousin and co-host Wallo having been locked up for several years in prison relate to a lot of the newer generation of rappers given the similarities in the lifestyles they all grew up in and the adversity that they faced. And because of that, they're able to offer sound advice to a lot of rappers that come on their platform. And Wallo specifically has given critical speeches to a lot of the greatest talent of this generation that has unfortunately foreshadowed a lot of the struggles that they'd later go on to endure. We saw him initially giving Young Thug advice to put people in positions of power and not fund or associate with any criminal activities now that he's made it out of that life and found success in music. Unfortunately, just a few months later, we saw Young Thug get caught up in a RICO case, which left him in prison for the last 2.5 years. More recently, we saw them talking to Lil Durk, who had just lost his childhood friend King Von, and they were urging him to put the past behind him and to avoid seeking revenge for the loss of King Von's life. Wallo had tears in his eyes as he was describing how he forgave the person who took his brother's life and said he had to forgive that person so he didn't commit any act that would jeopardize his freedom in retaliation for the loss of his brother's life, and instead be put in a position where he can now support his brother's children. As the world urged Lil Durk to slide for Von, Wallo was pleading with him to put the past behind, and unfortunately for Lil Durk, just a few months later, he was arrested on a charge of murder for hire in retaliation of King Von losing his life. And just like Young Thug and Lil Durk, with Kodak Black, Gillie and Wallo were also offering advice that could save him from going down a much more negative path. Having seen this situation be played out before, Gillie was telling Kodak that he had also been around that life, he had also been incarcerated, he had also seen the things that Kodak's seen, and that he wasn't talking at Kodak or necessarily lecturing him, but he was talking to him. He was trying to offer him advice as a person who had been down that same road and giving him guidance that someone who's a lot older but was in those same shoes can say, hey, look, don't slip down this negative path and avoid some of these hardships that they might have had to endure.
Because yeah, we used to be young. I'd have been shot. I'd have been locked up with a shitload of weed. You done did 20 years. We not perfect. So we not gonna come and we ain't talking at you. We talking to you. We respect you as a man. So it's different. And we not telling you what to do. We just saying, listen, Neff, we been down that road, Neff. Sure. It's a difference. We not here to talk at you like you believe it. No. We all men. We here to say, no, we a little older than you and we supposed to give you some game if we see you slipping.
Why they call the podcast $1 Million Worth of Game is because the game stands for God, attention, motivation, and education.
Game is God, it's attention, motivation, and education. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's all that's about with us, man. We got real love for you. You know what I mean? Every time we see you, keep it solid. Ain't no fake shit, ain't no fraud shit, ain't no phony shit, ain't no, oh, he yak today, he this yak tomorrow. No.
Same two steps.
Same old two steps, man.
Wallo also sat Kodak down to emphasize to him the importance of the fact that people depend on him, his family depends on him, there's people around him that love him, and he can't slip up and put himself in a position where he's unable to take care of his loved ones.
Look at me, man. You special. Don't never doubt yourself. You got them babies counting on you. There's gonna be times where you're gonna doubt yourself, you're gonna be in pain, but them babies counting on you. You gotta be here. And I'm telling you that because a lot of people get around you and they see your success and they say, oh man, a lot of people need you, and they yes man you. I ain't here to yes man you.
Again, Wallo also sits down with him and tells him that he was once young too, probably making the same decisions and mistakes that Kodak was making, and he's coming from a place of experience. He's coming from a place of seeing it and now knowing from a bird's eye view right from wrong.
You know me, every time we connect, you know I got love for you. Not because I need you, I got love for you because you're a young cat and I was young, Gil was young. Live.
And regardless of the trials and tribulations that Kodak has went through, all of the legal troubles, all of the trauma, the pain that could possibly be leading him now to hopefully not go down this road of substance abuse, regardless of whatever's keeping him up at night, he has to remember the loved ones around him who need him and make that positive change, not just for himself, but for them.
And I'm telling you that because you see that love that lady gave, you see how you light up when I talk about your babies? Live. These people want to laugh, they want to joke, they want to criticize. They don't know your pain, I don't know your pain. But I know one thing, them babies counting on you, your family counting on you, and you're talented. You got something that I'm talking about.
And regardless of the people that want to critique him or put him in a box and stereotype him due to his criminal past or his upbringing, he has to break that narrative and be the one to inspire that positive change. And again, to do it for the loved ones who are counting on Kodak.
They looking at us like we just some that don't give a fuck. We junkies, we are criminals. That's what they think of us. Boy, we got to learn how to change the narrative, brother. You got a lot of people watching you, a lot of young people watch you. See them babies? Take advantage of that and live. Don't hurt yourself, brother. And that's why we come down here. Because everybody else want to laugh and talk about it and comment and critique you. It's about what you feel inside of yourself, but you got to understand this. Queen, Prince, King, Isabella, they counting on you. Don't play them babies. Don't sell them babies out. Live for them babies. You hear me? Yeah. I love you, man. You hear me?
And I think this situation speaks volumes to Kendrick Lamar's decision to have made Kodak Black a focal point on his album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Kodak's life and what he represents resonates deeply with the album's themes of personal growth, healing, and accountability. The project is a meditation on confronting one's traumas, recognizing the scars of imperfection, and finding redemption not just for oneself, but for those who depend on you. Kodak's inclusion feels almost symbolic, a figure whose life embodies struggle and contradiction, serving as both cautionary tale and testament to resilience. By weaving Kodak into the narrative, Kendrick seems to amplify the idea that even the most flawed individuals carry the potential for growth, as their stories are intertwined with the people who care for them. It's a reminder that self-improvement often transcends the self. The weight of transformation can be borne for those who love and believe in you, even when you falter. Through this lens, Kodak becomes both a mirror and a muse, a reflection of the broader human struggle to rise above circumstance and embrace change, even when the road is jagged and uncertain.
There's a lot of little nuggets in both of their disses that if it wasn't for these breakdowns, and salute to guys like this, Rapaholics, because I think they directly get it.